Hello, my name's Danielle Boyd and I'm the co-founder of the Vintage Compact Shop. My daughter Eleanor Bennett and I wanted to make a video that would help people date and name their Stratton powder compacts. Click the like and subscribe button to receive alerts when we release more videos. We'd like to pay tribute to vanities expert Juliet Edwards, as without her hard work and dedication, the Stratton brand would still be a mystery to many people, including us. Stratton branded accessories can be dated by the designs on their base. This can be cross-referenced with the known years of availability to ensure greater accuracy. One of our favourite models is the Stratton Scone without inner lid. As you can see it here. Very pretty. And as you can see from when I've angled the compact there, it has a very textured appearance. And this model typically has pictorial inlays which have the appearance of an oil painting, and they're very beautiful. And there's a couple in Georgian attire. And the theme generally for the ones that we found so far with the oil painting like pictorial inlays are either the still life floral compacts, so a still life composition, or Georgian couples. And here's another one here. There. The Georgian couple. Equestrian themed. And as you see, as I can turn it towards the light, you can see it has a very textured appearance. These are highly collectible and they can command large sums. Because there just aren't many, you can go for many years without finding any, and then a couple will pop up with lid decorations that you've never seen before. They're especially beautiful. So this model is known as the Stratton Scone without inner lid because it doesn't have an inner lid. You'll see a signature there, Stratton. And typically these have gilded powder wells. There's no thumb catch, no sprung thumb catch. Some of them have white enamel protective paint on the powder wells. All of the ones we've found have bases which are very much similar to a scone, which is the coarse spiral. There you go, see the coarse spiral there. And this one has never been used. It's got the original puff and sifter, and anything with a sifter, the original sifter was made for loose powder. The Convertibles had sifters, but we'll go on to them later. So this was made for loose face powder, and some of them have very quirky puffs. This is one of them. Quite quirky puffs. So that's that model. So they were known to be available in 1948. That's the only mention of them in an advertisement. The next model is known as the punt, the Stratton punt. It's quite small. It measures 60mm by 57mm. It was known to be available in 1940 and 1952. And again, early Stratton compacts. It was made for loose face powder, and you've got the original puff and sifter there. And this one has a transfer print of sportswomen. And on the back, so early 50s, late 40s, 1940, 1952, you've got the vertical engine turn design. So there you go. 1940 or 1952 they were known to be available. It's a Stratton punt for loose face powder. On June the 29th, 1944, Durrett, Rainsford and Lawton, that's the makers of the Stratton brand, applied for a patent for a compact with a mirror wiping mechanism. This application was accepted on the 14th of January 1947. It looks as though this model, this is the Mirror Clean Small, it's very pretty, very stylish, was available in the late 1940s. But we only have the Mirror Clean Small mentioned in the 1952 catalogue, and the larger version of the Mirror Clean in a 1956 catalogue. This elegant vanity has an engine turn design. The cartouche there in the middle was for a monogram or the owner's initials. Smart engine turned linear design on the back. Self-opening mechanism, but here it is. As you open it, just look, as you open up the compact, a little mirror wiping mechanism wipes the mirror. And as you push the mirror back a little bit further, it triggers the inner lid to open. And there you go, unused puff and sifter. So we know again from this one with a sifter and a puff, it was for loose powder compact. So that's the Mirror Clean Small. And it definitely dates to 1952, but I think earlier because of the patent. There you go, very pretty. It's got quite a semi-rigid pouch, felt-lined semi-rigid pouch, which has kept it in such good condition. The next one is very large. It's called the Muffin. It measures 3.5 inches diameter. It has a spiral on the base, like the scones without inner lid, an overhanging lid and base, which is typical for the scones, but this is bigger than the scones, quite a lot bigger. The known years of availability for the Muffin are 1948, 1952 and 1953. This one has a pictorial inlay which looks like an oil painting of RMS Queen Elizabeth, and the ship was named in honour of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Consort to King George VI, and she became Queen Mother in 1953. So another loose powder compact, large mirror, self-opening inner lid that the makers of Stratton patented to enable ladies to open inner lids easily. It's always said it was to protect the nails, but if you can imagine an elderly lady trying to open a compact, if she had arthritis, trying to open a tiny button, well, it's so much easier if it opens itself. So that's the Muffin. Then we've got the Princess. This is the Stratton Princess. The first known year for this model, known year of availability, was 1953. It was made to honour Princess Elizabeth in the year of her coronation. It has a very long production run from 1953 right through to 1994. So how do we date a compact with such a long production run? Well, we date it from the design on their base. As you can see, this one has an engine turn design of vertical lines. So you see the vertical lines there. So we know that the all-over star design with no signature dates from roughly mid-1950s. So this must have been made before that. And as they were first launched in 1953, it's highly likely that it was either made in the coronation year, 1953, or 1954. So that's how you date many Strattons, by the design on the bases. Very, very slender. As you can see how slender it is. And being this slender, it's a loose powder compact. Original mirror sticker on. If you're a collector, you should try and keep all the features, all the original features like the stickers the original box, the puff, the pouch. And this box as well can help with the dating. It's mainly the model type and the base design, but also boxes can help. And we see these boxes with the pearlized paper and the Stratton logo from in the early 50s. And there you go, we've got the Stratton Princess, slender and elegant. And now we go on to the scones. So the next model is the Stratton scone. You've got an overhanging lid and base, said to make them easier to hold. Fine spiral on the base. They are a loose powder compact. This one has the original mirror sticker. And the production run was from 1948 to 1962. This model had various rebrands to boost trade. We know that in 1948 it was referred to as the scone. A 1956 catalogue shows that this same model was now being called the Corona. That was a 1956 model. Corona means crown-like, and my hunch is that it was probably renamed the Corona in the coronation year, 1953. The coronation was such a wonderful occasion and so good for British trade. The makers of the Stratton brand, Durrett, Rainsford and Lawton, who were known as Lawton and Sons Limited, after 1958, would not have let the ceremony go without paying tribute to it. And so we see royalty-themed models, so the lid decorations would have royalty-themed decorations, but we also see models named after royalty. So by the time the 1960 catalogue was published, this same model was now known as the Regal. So the scone, the Corona and Regal are all the same model, but obviously there's rebrands. They measure 3 inches diameter and they all have a fine spiral on the base. A nice compact. Now this one is part of a set, the Winchester Castle, and this one is a lipstick mirror, and there's a patent showing that this lipstick mirror dates to the 1950s, so that's very nice. The Winchester Castle is honoured here, as many ships were honoured by the Stratton brand for their active service in World War II. She was a troop ship. Originally she was made by Harland and Wolff as a passenger ship. She was launched on the 19th of November in 1929. During World War II, she became the headquarters for Admiral Mountbatten combined operations. It's so good to find compacts in the original box. And this one is a Glamorizer. We've not had this Glamorizer before, and it's one with a fixed thumb catch, not sprung. Original mirror sticker, real engine turn front, it says on the mirror sticker. And then we've got the original puff, and there's a gilded powder well with a slot in the base. And that's so when the powder pan, it was from pressed powder, when the powder pan is installed, you would just get a nail file and push through the slot. Obviously that would be open. Push through the slot, and it helps to remove the powder pan. This is the Glamorizer later, and it has a rim, a detachable rim, so the powder pan goes in there, and then you put the rim over the powder pan and it secures it in place. The known years of availability for the Glamorizer later are 1956, 1958 and 1962. The makers referred to the gilt rim as the clip-in bezel. It's nice little box. This is the original box, and these boxes we see, the black boxes with the diamond shapes and the Stratton signature, we see them in the 50s and the 60s. And you've got the item code, which is lovely. So 317/ET. ET stands for engine turned. It's always nice to find the original boxes. We can date this one to the exact year, 1956. As the next known year of availability, 1958, they now had sprung thumb catches. On the 11th of July 1956, Jarrett, Rainsford and Lawton were granted a patent for the Stratton Initial Compact, which is quite an interesting compact. It's very pretty. And it's just displaying the letter H at the moment. But this Stratton branded compact has a key, the initial key, and you insert it in a slot there, pull it down, and as you pull it, you'll be able to select the initial of your choice. The only initials it doesn't have are X and Z. So this is a nice way of someone having a personalised compact without going to the trouble of having to have it engraved. In all other respects, this initial is just like a scone. So you've got the overhanging lid and base, the spiral, and again, this one hasn't been used, got the original puff and sifter, and it's for loose powder. We have seen a Stratton Initial compact made from the cachet as well. In 1957, the Royal was known to be available. It is part of the luxury range. This is rarer than that. This is a lipstick Royal. So it has a lipstick built in to the lid, which rises up slightly as you open it up. That's very pretty. Lipstick Royal. Now, this is the all-over star design. Very well-known design. And, of course, you have to cross-reference it with the model number. But roughly, the all-over star design with no signature is dating from mid-1950s to mid-1960s. In 1957, the first Musica became available. Is there? Stratton Musica. These fabulous little musical powder boxes are fitted with Swiss musical movements made by the finest music box maker in the world, Rouge. The most sought-after musicas are those with ballet-themed lid decorations. The production run of these musical powder boxes lasted from 1957 to 1969. How do you know if your Musica is a 1950s or a 1960s model? Well, if you have the original boxes, you will see in the lid Stratton Musica Compact. From 1964, they became musical, so if you have the original box, it will give you a good idea. They are highly reliable, which is why Stratton picked the Rouge brand to supply them with musical movements. So very deep-bodied. They are a powder box and a musical box. Okay. And there's the Musica playing. On the base of the Musica, we see a design called the feathers or the curled feathers, and that design was reserved for the luxury range of Strattons. Luxury range of Stratton accessories. This is where it's known as a Stratton Piccadilly, and this model is a great favourite of ours. There are only two known years of availability, that's 1959 and 1960. The compact is like a scone, the base, the interior, loose powder compact. But the lid sets it apart. It has 4 indentations, and the makers described it as a clover leaf shape. So it's in the shape of a lucky 4-leaf clover. A diamond-shaped Glamorizer. It's a diamond-shaped Glamorizer. This was known to be available from 1959 to 1962. This was only made for pressed face powder, and as the name suggests, It's in the shape of a diamond. A 1959 advertisement shows this lovely compact. It is the Stratton Photo Compact. Isn't it pretty? A gilded heart is set into the locket, and as you ping the catch, it reveals a locket recess for a photograph. It's got the original instruction leaflet in there. It says a Stratton patent. It says lift locking ring, insert photograph and replace the ring. And it is very much like a scone, loose powder compact, except that it has the Stratton patented locket in the lid. This compact can be described as a novelty compact, and the word novelty in the context of vanities can have various meanings. In this case, it means that as well as being a compact, it's also a locket, so you can carry a picture around with you of your loved one. The word novelty can also refer to a musical powder box, because that's a music box, as well as a powder box. And novelty can also refer to compacts which look like something else. So, for example, a compact that looks like a little table, or a compact that looks like a basket. The star design with no signatures appears to be mid-1950s to mid-1960s. So if we look at this delightful little Stratton Petite, has the all-over star design, and we know that the Stratton Petite was available from 1960 to 1968. So if we cross-reference that information with the base design, we know that this particular compact was made between 1960 and 1965. The Petite is dainty and elegant with a unique shape. Very, very slender, so of course it's for loose powder. This one has scenes from country life on the lid. For models with long production runs, like the Rondette, we have to look at the base design to date them. This Rondette has an enamel lid with sweet peas, the transfer design on top. It's slender, it has a full inner lid, so we know it's a loose powder compact. The loose face powder would go under the sifter gauze, and the sifter would press it down, as would the inner lid, and prevent major spills. So if you look at the base on this Rondette, it has the all-over star design with the Stratton signature. So this appears to date items from the mid-1960s to the early 70s. Boxes can also help with the dating process, and the box it came in is also one that we see in the 50s and 60s. So it's pointing to that Rondette being from the 60s. You do have to be careful when you find them with boxes that the boxes are original to the vanity. This is a 10-sided convertible. The known years of availability are 1962 to 1968. This one has the all-over star design with no signature, and so it dates this particular compact between 1965 and 1968. This one is unusual. It has a ceramic plaque, which is equestrian themed, and as you can see, there's the most spirited and elegant horse on the lid. Stratton compacts were often named convertible as an affix, so this is the 10-sided convertible, and that tells you that as well as loose face powder, you could install solid powder. Got the original puff there. And this has a annular ring that you open, put the powder pan in, and then secure it like that. So Stratton compacts with convertible in the name were for loose and pressed powder, and as long as they have the original sifter in place, they can still be used for loose powder. This compact is shaped like a cushion, and that's what the makers named it, and what we often see on Stratton collectibles is a very high sheen finish. The brass was lacquered, so this particular compact will never tarnish or need to be cleaned as long as the layer of lacquer isn't damaged. This compact was made only for solid powder. And as you can see, the powder well wall there are vertical slots, and they grip the powder pan. You've got the original instruction leaflet there, which is referring to the original puff as the Stratton Luxury Puff, and it is very pretty and well made. So because the powder pan is being gripped, the makers also included a slot in the base so you can insert a metal nail file which will help you push the powder pan out. The cushion was known to be available from 1966 to 1968, and on this one you've got the all-over star design and also the signature as well. There you go, that's the Stratton cushion. Then we've got a Stratton Contessa. It looks like a mini convertible, and I'll show you a mini convertible in a little while. But it's not a convertible. It has a full inner lid. Only 2 years of known availability for this, 1963 and 1964. It was made only for loose face powder. And on the lid we can see a flag, and this is the trademark insignia of P&O, the shipping line. Stratton were contracted by shipping line companies and jewellery chains to supply accessories, and then they in turn would gift these, often to their first class lady passengers, a memento of their trip. Stratton brand accessories are highly collectible, highly regarded, they're very reliable, and they can command sums of hundreds of pounds, and their collectability occasionally attracts those who would like to fake them. And the most usual way that a Stratton would be faked would be an application of a mount to the lid. So how do we know this is authentic? Well, when you have them in your hand, it's quite easy to see if they're authentic or not, and you can prove this. It's different if you're looking at them online. So with this lid application, how do we know that it's authentic? Well, it's fixed, it isn't glued. The fakes are almost always glued on, and often you can see messy glue remnants around the application. So if we were to remove the Contessa's mirror, and it can be quite difficult, but it's always possible to remove a mirror, you will see rivets coming through from under the lid which secure this application in place. So then you know that that is authentic to the piece. So that's something to bear in mind. If you see a Stratton compact with an unusual lid application, it's always worth making inquiries as far as you can, trying to ensure that it is authentic. The next model is a convertible. It's a deep and chunky model. So if you compare it to the Rondette, very slender, and another very slender model, the Petite, you can see how deep and chunky the convertible is. And again, the convertible name means it was suitable for use with loose and pressed face powder. As long as it has the original sifter, it can be used with loose powder. The convertible was a very successful model. It had a long production run from 1955 to 1977. So just like the Rondette, we need to look at the base to date them. This one has the all-over star design and the signature. So it dates from 1965 to the early 1970s. And here we have a lovely silver-plated slim convertible. The whole compact is silver-plated throughout, apart from the interior fittings. This model was known to be available from 1960 to 1997, so a long production run. So again, with this model, we need to look at the base to date it. And this base is probably quite hard to see from there, but it has very fine vertical lines and little marks that look like chevrons or zigzags. So this one dates to the 1970s to the 1980s. That's that base design. The lid decoration on here is transfer print, very pretty pastel colours, and the silver plated lid is rendered with a design that's often referred to as satinized. So it's like a brushing technique, and the brush strokes give the appearance of satin, gives it a luxurious appearance. This is another silver-plated Stratton compact. It is clamshell in design, the only clamshell-shaped Stratton, and the makers named this the Shell Convertible. Apart from the interior brass fittings, the whole compact throughout is silver-plated. There's a very pretty bird transfer on the lid. This model was known to be available from 1973 to 1978, and if we look on the base, it has the same base design as the slim convertible that I've just shown you, and they are fine vertical lines with tiny chevrons or zigzag lines. The last compact that we wanted to show you today is a mini convertible. The production run for this model was from 1970 to 1997. After that point, the company was sold off and Stratton accessories were made abroad, and many consider them to be not quite of the standard of the vintage Stratton accessories, which were all British made. And the mini convertible, as the name implies, can be used for loose and press face powder. There you go, you can see a woven effect. And that was used definitely in the 1990s up to 1997, possibly very, very late 80s, but definitely in the 90s. Well, we hope that this helps novice collectors date and name their Stratton collection. We will be making more videos, and hopefully as we progress, my attempts will be less amateurish. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.